You're making $80,000 a year. Decent salary, right? You've been responsible. You've saved some money. You're ready to become a homeowner. So you open Zillow at midnight on a Tuesday, and every single house that doesn't look like it's actively falling apart costs at least $400,000. The kitchen has laminate countertops from 2003. The carpet is that specific shade of beige that screams, "We stopped caring in 1997." There's fake wood paneling in the basement, and the listing agent has the audacity to call it a starter home. Meanwhile, the bank says you're approved. Your real estate agent is smiling and nodding. Your parents keep asking when you're finally going to buy. So what's the problem? Here's the problem. You can't actually afford any of these houses. Not really, not in any way that doesn't turn your life into a financial nightmare for the next decade. And the truly insane part? Nobody in the process of selling you that house has any incentive to tell you this. My name is David, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, stewardship, and how easily good people get trapped by systems that look normal on the surface. Today, we're going to do something the real estate industry absolutely hates. We're going to calculate what house your salary actually buys you. Not what the bank says you qualify for, but what you can legitimately afford without spending the next 10 years eating ramen and praying your car doesn't break down. As Luke 14:28 NIV teaches, suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? Too many families are building without counting the real costs. Let's start with some uncomfortable reality. The median household income in America right now is around $83,730. Sounds pretty good. Solidly middle class. The kind of income where you should be able to afford a normal house in a normal neighborhood. Except here's the thing. The median home price in America is around $415,000. So we're asking people making $84,000 to somehow afford homes that cost 5 times their annual income. If that sounds completely insane to you, congratulations. You're paying attention. But everyone keeps telling you it's fine. The mortgage broker says you're approved. Some guy on YouTube is telling you to house hack your way to wealth. Your friend from college just bought a house, so clearly it's possible. What's your problem? The problem is that everyone is lying to you about what affordable actually means. There's this guideline in personal finance called the 28% rule. It says you shouldn't spend more than 28% of your gross monthly income on housing costs, mortgage payment, property taxes, insurance, HOA fees, all of it. The banks have a different number. They'll approve you as long as your total debt-to-income ratio stays under 43%. Here's what nobody tells you, and this is critical. There's a massive difference between what the bank will approve and what you can actually afford without destroying your life. The bank's job is to make sure the loan doesn't default immediately. They don't care if you're miserable. They don't care if you can't afford groceries. They care that you keep making the minimum payment every month for 30 years. Proverbs 22:7. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. When your housing payment consumes half your income, you're not building wealth. You're becoming a slave to the mortgage. Let me show you what this actually looks like with real numbers. Let's say you want to buy a $400,000 house, actually below the national median. You scrape together a 10% down payment, $40,000. Congratulations. That probably took you 5 to 7 years to save. Now you've got a $360,000 loan at current rates around 6.09%. Your monthly mortgage payment, principal and interest, is about $2,150. But we're not done. Add property taxes, $450 average. Homeowner's insurance, $300. PMI, because you didn't put 20% down, $275. And maintenance, 1% of home value per year equals $333 per month. Your total monthly housing cost is now around $3,558. If we follow the 28% rule, you need to be making about $150,000 per year to comfortably afford this. The bank, using their 43% threshold, would approve you with an income as low as $98,000. See the $52,000 gap? Only about 20% of American households make $150,000 or more, which means 80% of American households cannot comfortably afford a $400,000 house under any reasonable financial standard. But that's below the median home price. So we've created a housing market where the typical American home is unaffordable to the typical American household. This isn't an opinion. This is math being cruel. Let me walk you through what this actually looks like in real life. A household making $80,000 combined saves up 5% for a down payment on a $400,000 house. They get approved because their income just barely fits under the 43% debt-to-income threshold. They move in to PD. They feel like they've made it. Here's what actually happens. Their total housing cost is $3,191 per month, 47.9% of their gross income. After taxes, their $80,000 becomes about $4,667 take home. Housing eats $3,191, leaving $1,476 for everything else. They're short every single month before clothing, medical copays, or savings. Every unexpected expense becomes a crisis. The car needs brakes. $800 on a credit card. The HVAC dies. $5,000 financed. This is what being house poor means. You technically own a house, but you can't afford to live in it, maintain it, or enjoy it. Philippians 4:6-7. Nianivai tells us, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God. And the peace of God will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. When housing consumes nearly half your income, peace is hard to find. A household earning $200,000 buying the same $500,000 house with 20% down has monthly housing costs of about $3,770, just 22.6% of their gross income. After taxes, housing, expenses, retirement contributions, and emergency savings, their budget balances. This is what comfortable looks like, and it requires being in the top 10% of earners for a house that's only slightly above the national median. The $500,000 house buys you completely different realities depending on where you live. In San Francisco, it gets you a 600 square foot studio. In Atlanta, a 4-bedroom in a good school district. In Cleveland, a 4,000 square foot historic home. The income required to buy a median home in San Jose is massively higher than in Cleveland. Your parents bought a house at your age. They keep reminding you. What they're not telling you is that they bought in a completely different economic universe. In 1980, the median home price was about 3 times median household income. Today, it's 5 times. They could save a down payment in a few years. You need a decade while prices keep rising. 1 Timothy 6:6 NIV reminds us, but godliness with contentment is great gain. Chasing a house you can't comfortably afford trades real peace for years of stress. If you're making less than $140,000 a year and looking at a $500,000 house, you need to stop. Just stop. You're about to make a decision that will dominate your life for the next decade, and not in a good way. You have options. Move to a more affordable area. Buy way less house than you think you need. House hack, duplex, or rent rooms. Or wait and save aggressively while renting. There is no prize for buying a house you can't afford. There is no trophy for being house poor. You are not failing at homeownership. The system is failing you. Home prices have outpaced wage growth so dramatically that what was normal for previous generations is now a luxury for most. The real question isn't whether you can technically qualify for a mortgage. The real question is whether owning that house will actually improve your life, or just transfer your money to a bank while you stress about property taxes and hope nothing breaks. Run the real numbers. Pray for wisdom. Choose faithful stewardship over cultural pressure. As Proverbs 21:20 NIV says, the wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down. Build margin, avoid foolish debt, invest consistently, live with contentment in Christ. That's how you build something that lasts.